20 years in Gotham, Alfred. We've seen what promises are worth. How many good guys are left? How many stayed that way?
Does it depress you to know just how alone you really are? I know why you're afraid to go out at night. Batman has shown Gotham your true colors, unfortunately.
Maybe it's the Gotham City in me. Have a bad history with freaks dressed like clowns.
You're gonna do all the dirt under my name.
All right, welcome everybody. This is the 44 podcast. I'm about to talk.
This is not the 44 podcast.
44 Talk Shit podcast.
This is episode 1. We're excited. It's a new podcast, and 44 is going to run this once a week.
If we offend anyone and get canceled, this was 44's idea, so he can take the fall.
No,
Yes.
it wasn't. You see how the white man tries to blame everything on me and everything. you see what I'm saying, man? And I'm
You're going there already? All right.
I was in his corner supporting him, but it's all good though, man. It's all good. So it was just us three. Where's Gio at? Gio
He said he was watching some baseball or something. I don't know.
Who watches baseball?
Bullshit.
New
Gio
Yorkers.
over there abusing Korean girls.
What? How did we get to there?
I don't think Gio's ever dated a Korean girl, right? Because nobody who's dated a Korean girl talks the way he talks about Korean girls.
Yeah,
I've dated a Korean girl.
I don't think I've ever seen a Korean girl. I haven't even I rarely see Japanese girls.
I mean, maybe he has, but he's never met her parents, Because they would have said no. He's too New York.
They would have been like, "Oh, nah, you're gonna fuck up the bloodline." No. You see how wide and stubby he is?
He's got a low center of gravity. You can't knock him down.
Man, I feel like we shouldn't be knocking him so bad with him not here to defend himself, but I invited him, so
it's okay. He'll catch up on the recording. He'll listen. He'll catch up.
Oh shit.
Who else is gonna come? Who else is in our chat?
I don't know. Frank was supposed to be here too.
Frank, Andy. What's Andy up to? He's still driving through the desert.
Yeah, he's just smoking, and he's probably on his carnivore diet, right? He probably passed out from that. No carbs.
Dude, Andy needs a haircut, man. He literally looks like Jesus.
He's not about to
You
get
mean
a haircut.
Jesus?
That's what gets him the white bitches.
Yeah.
Let me
What's
stop,
the first
yo.
topic, 44? What's the first topic? What are we talking about?
Don't try to set me up like I'm the host. Ben is the host.
Dude, this is your podcast. You gotta set the
it's
tone.
not.
44 podcast.
Yeah,
No,
it's
it's
got your
not.
name on it.
The content
man.
king. We gotta. Oh, this is exciting on 44's first
What?
podcast. This is awesome.
Yeah. Now that we got him in it, I'm gonna set up a whole YouTube channel for him, and then I'm never gonna give him the password.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna run it as his ghost account, and then I'm gonna say a bunch of
Yeah,
dumb
I'm just
shit.
gonna draw.
And then
Just draw a bunch of profile pictures
then I'm
and
gonna
then
sue
put his
you.
face on there.
Then I'm gonna sue you, right? I'm gonna take that shit all the way to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but the Supreme Court's gonna say, it's like, what makes you think this podcast is copying your image? They'll never admit that drawing looks like you because that's just racist.
Man, fuck the Supreme Court.
No, so I thought we were supposed to get a new 44 talk shit drawing.
I know. I don't know. I have to think about what format I want to use. Maybe a watercolor or something.
I didn't even want to do this podcast.
Wait, is your
So what are we talking about, guys?
Hold on, I gotta ask something. Wait, Nas, is your daughter like an artist? Can she watercolor a 44 picture for you?
My daughter's 5, dude.
Oh, damn.
I actually like watercolor pictures. I take that.
Yeah, we're gonna do an impressionist version, impression like Van Gogh drawing of 44.
Perfect. Finger paint that.
As long as it's not macaroni, yeah, I'll be all right.
That's a pretty good idea. The macaroni art of 44.
Now I need to see that.
But macaroni's it only comes in like yellow, so
yeah, you have to get the like whole wheat, the whole wheat version.
Whole wheat. The darker pasta.
Yeah. Maybe put a little stain on it. I don't know.
Yeah.
What would you do for the hair? You do some angel hair, maybe?
Yeah, you could use pasta for hair.
Some braided angel hair.
I'll figure it out. I'll see what's in the pantry. Macaroni.
44. You said you didn't want any drama. What's that about? Who's trying to give you drama?
Let's talk drama. Let's talk the scoop game.
No, let's not.
What
I'm
happened?
afraid to talk the scoop game because all my opinions will get me blocked.
I was looking for 44 messing with Sil and Mikey, and then I saw Sil say like 44. I don't agree with you or something like that.
You watched the stream when I was talking recently, right?
Yeah. That's the only reason I watched it. I was looking for your comments.
Yeah. Didn't you get like blocked from commenting or something?
Yeah, I think the mods messed with them, right?
They timed me out for a little bit, but no, they fuck with me over there because I know all the main people over there still. Like, no matter how many new people come over there, like all the fucking.
I think 44 said something like, "This man's like something about super. Like this man's cap," and then the mods kind of jumped on him.
Yeah, I did say that because I'm like, bruh, Shazam, yo. You're not gonna tell me Shazam is part of the Snyderverse until I literally see Shazam and the Justice League standing in front of Darkseid after like 4 movies you feel me, a Snyderverse tone.
What are you talking about?
That's just me.
They had Superman action figures in Shazam. They had even in Peacemaker. They had the Justice League show up in Peacemaker. It's all Snyderverse 44. It's all Snyderverse. It's all part of the same plan. You can't tell me otherwise.
No, I won't accept it.
Why are y'all doing this to me?
I can't imagine Zachary Levi standing next to the Justice League. That'd be heartbreaking.
Bro, to be honest, I'm kind of nervous about this Ben Affleck stuff today. Because so on one hand, I'm like, okay, we've got some good potential. But on the other hand, I'm like, this movie comes out before The Flash, where he's supposedly, according to like Grace Randolph, he's supposed to like die or whatever. So this could be like a cameo, and then they're just using it to distract from all the Amber Heard boycotts and shit.
And then kill him off later.
Yeah. I'm nervous about that. I'm like, they're gonna bait.
I'm at.
Yeah, they're gonna bait all the Snyder fans to buy Aquaman tickets. They're gonna make their money, and then they're just gonna keep baiting.
You know it'll work.
Yeah, it is. I'm seeing people already saying they're gonna buy tickets.
They'll do it, man.
I'm at the point where I'm like, man, until they announce like a real new head of DC films, like I'm stressfully questioning everything. I'm scrutinizing everything.
Even a new head. Who you gonna? I don't trust anybody anymore.
Alan Horn or whatever. Is that his name?
I'll jump in when I see Snyder back. Right now, it doesn't matter if they hire a new head. That's just another.
One thing I'll give WB the pass on is the fact that they fucked everything up so bad that they need to do something. They really do. Even if you count how much they fuck shit up, the pandemic, the delays, you feel what I mean? Everybody on the internet talking shit about them.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that makes me believe a little bit that they have to do something because you are already delayed Batgirl. You know what I mean? Like you already delayed Flash. So that's why I think they're putting Batfleck in this movie like everybody else, because it's like, yo, the movies got leaked. Everybody knew that you were going to come out with Flash, and then it was going to be Batgirl, then it was going to be Aquaman, and you were going to change up the whole timeline. But then Ezra Miller fucked his shit up. You had to delay that movie, so that fucked up the whole time. Like, mind you, all this shit is Jeff Johns' fault because he was the one that came up with all these goofy ass movies.
I like
and it's probably this goofy ass storyline.
Dude, the Flash movie, that shit was supposed to come out in like 2020, wasn't it? Or just 2021? What was
exactly.
That was so long ago. I don't even remember what.
So
they didn't even have a plan back then.
Yeah,
like, I think their plan was
didn't.
Wonder Woman 84 right then, right? Didn't that come out? Or was that 2021?
I don't even Wonder Woman 84. I don't even remember. Fuck that movie. Like, that shit came out. It did come out. I don't know.
No, we're like, if all this planning had started making the money, started getting the properties really popular, then we have nothing to say. But at this point, no matter who you ask, objectively, the DC properties are trash. It's just ridiculous. You can't even lie your way out of it.
No,
compared to what happened in Comic-Con.
In every direction, you're right though. In every direction, Hamada's gone. Like the Batman didn't perform very well. It didn't even get close to BVS.
Pretty much every big budget movie that came out did better than the Batman.
Yeah. Dude, nothing will be better than the Suicide Squad flopping as hard as it did. It lost $100 million. Like that was unbelievable. I can't believe he didn't get fired on the spot.
That's one of the things that made me truly believe that anybody will twist any narrative, because there's no way anyone could claim that movie was successful, and yet there are people who do push that narrative. And
do you remember when that movie came out? Do you remember how many bots there were? Like, I'm on Twitter now and I'm looking around. I don't see any of those Suicide Squad bots anymore.
There's no excuse. That movie had like a 99% critical score or something. Dude, it was ridiculous. There's no excuse for it to make so little.
I'm really convinced Jeff Johns has a bot army. Like, I thought it was Emmerich like hiring somebody, but I think it's just Jeff Johns. I think he's got like a team of people doing damage control.
I don't think it's just Jeff Johns. Like, I at this point.
At the studio related.
No, it's not even the studio. It's the comic. I think it's the comic book division. I think it's the comic book industry and the division at DC at this point, because it's like, yo, it can't just be just Johns, and it can't just be these same comic book guys pushing the same narrative. Like, oh, we need a comic book guy to write the movies. Like, bro, we already did that. Like, what the fuck are y'all talking about?
That was a dumb tweet, man. That was really dumb. It's like, did we not just go through that?
Because you got to understand that the comic book industry nowadays, nobody pays attention to them. And they're also a kind of like a niche too at the same time. So it's like, these guys can still be sitting there pushing the same agenda from a decade ago, like, oh yeah, just shit on all the fucking Hollywood movies and the Zack Snyder movies and the movies that don't have us in there. Then we'll tell WB to hire us to make the right movies. It's like, because for years, like, every fucking DC writer that comes out, either whether it's on Twitter or on YouTube or anything, it's just like, yeah, they should just let us write the movies. Like, and it's like, you know why they don't let you write the movies? Because you guys don't know how to fucking write movies. You write comic books. But they want to keep pushing that agenda because they still want to take over the movies.
If the comic book industry was making a lot of money and super successful, they might have an argument. But they don't. The comic industry is dying. The books aren't selling. That's the problem. And why would they even make the argument that they can write movies at this point?
And at this point too, like how many movies have Jeff Johns written and they were all trash?
Hey,
like, stop playing with me.
When Grace Randolph revealed that nonsense about Black Adam being a Jeff Johns, that made total sense. That it clarified things. That's why it's so mediocre. You know, look at everything he touches. It's the same level of mediocrity. It's like a boring. It's just whatever, you know.
Like, even
no one's excited for it.
Even look at the tone of this shit. It's all MCU carbon copy stuff. Like him and Kevin Feige are still like great friends, and they're convinced everything has to be super campy and never serious.
I mean, that works for the MCU fandom, and that's fine. That's what they like. But it hasn't worked for the DC fandom. I mean, look at Birds of Prey. Look at.
Nah, at this point, I'm at the point where like I believe that Jeff Johns doesn't even care about any of that. I believe that Jeff Johns and all those other DC Comics employees, they don't care about that. They just want the money. That's all it is. They just see that, the MCU style is popular. So they're just going to do that and put themselves in the place of leadership and talk it up like, oh, I can get the job done, even though they can't, so they can just get the money. Because regardless, at the end of the day, even if these movies are successful or not, these guys get paid before the movies come out anyway. They might get more money if the movie's successful, but they get paid anyway. So it doesn't fucking matter. Like, even look at Jeff Johns. Like, he's just fucking basing every fucking movie he can off his comics.
Maybe
everybody that worked on his comics will get a check, and he'll get a big ass check.
He probably hated Snyder because Snyder didn't really touch on his stories, did he? Maybe
exactly. And I've been figured that out. That's all it is. And that's why a lot of these comic book dudes were mad. They were just mad that some of these filmmakers, including Snyder, wanted the same respect that they got when they came to working on DC Comics material, even if it's not a comic book. They're just like, all right, we can base it off some stuff, but I want to tell my own original story. And then they got all up in their feelings about it. Like, oh, why do you want to tell your own comic accuracy? Like, the truth is, a lot of these comic guys want their shit to be adapted, especially the modern ones that are still around. They just want their shit to be adapted so they get paid in the back end. That's all it is. And then when a director like Zack Snyder says, like, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to follow your comic exactly. I already did that with Watchmen.
Superman. I don't want.
Yeah. They lose their fucking shit. Because imagine this, even let's use Aquaman as an example. Imagine if they made the Aquaman movie that they were supposed to make instead of making the Aquaman movie that was completely based off the Jeff Johns comic. Would Jeff Johns have gotten that much money? Would the people that wrote those comics got that much? No. Because majority of the stuff in the movie would have been stuff that was originally came up with by the writer. The only thing that they would have pulled was the characters, the lore, but the story would have been original. The aesthetic, and that's another important thing. The aesthetic would have been original because a lot of people don't realize that, these studios also have to pay, except for Marvel, because they're on some bullshit. But these studios, they should, and they're supposed to be paying these artists even based off their illustrations and everything.
The design.
So if I drew a version of Superman, and then they use that look in the comics, they have to pay me for that.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, that's why Zach's name is all over 184. He didn't touch that movie except he created this incarnation. Same thing with Aquaman.
That abomination of a movie.
Like
Jeff Johns,
all this shit is business.
All over Black Adam universe.
What is that guy's net worth anyway? This Jeff Johns guy. What's his net worth? Is that on the internet?
He probably has a few million if he's been working at DC for as long as I hope he does.
I mean, the word on the street is he's out of it, but he's definitely still very in the DC film game.
He's still there. They just put a little corporate, a corporate hush hush on him. So like they just told him like, yo, don't make too much noise. Don't put yourself out there. Don't go on video, but stay in the boardroom and keep working on our shit.
That's one of the reasons they got to keep Ray Fisher quiet.
The celebritynetworth.com.
That's the reason why Amada didn't get rid of him. $5 million for he said he's worth $5 million. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, Jeff Johns.
What?
Gonna guess what Zach is worth?
No, what was he worth?
$60 million.
I'm not trying to compare, but
well, there you go.
That makes sense too.
Yeah, but one of them is talented. The other one's just a piece of shit. And Toby Emmert's worth $20 million.
I guarantee you, when Zach was working on BVS and all that, the entire time, these comic book writers, these Jeff Johns types, are like, "Who the hell is this guy to come in our genre to tell us what he wants to do? How dare
he?" Needed Nolan there.
Yeah. I honestly believe at this point that because Jeff Johns and even Warner Brothers and even the old regime, they know that they shit the bed long ago. I honestly believe at this point, from like the last 2 years, they just filmed all these movies like Blue Beetle and Batgirl and even like all this shit. They just did this shit to get their last checks. I'm trying to tell you, like, they realized the time was up, and they're like, "Fuck it, we're about to just greenlight a bunch of bullshit, have the movies come out. Jeff Johns is gonna base it off his shit, so he gets his money and his checks and all that shit, and it's over." Because you can see how fast they even greenlit this last slate, and how fast they fast tracked all these films as if people were really wanted to see them. They fast tracked Blue Beetle. They fast tracked Batgirl. Like, what the fuck? Like, you feel me? Like, I'm trying to tell you, they did this because it's their last run. They made all these movies just to get them out there, just to be a thorn in everybody's side. The future regime, the consumers, you feel me? Wall Street. They did this shit on purpose because they know that nobody wanted to see these movies, but it's about the fucking money. They're like, we have the power right now. We're gonna control shit. If Jeff Johns is like, if I base all these movies off their comics, because you gotta look at it like this. I said this a while ago, like a long time ago anyway. Jeff Johns is still the head of DC Films. People just don't realize it. Hamada is a ghost leader. He's in a puppet position. Toby only put Hamada in that position so he would have a yes man there, and then they kept Jeff Johns where he was at, so Jeff Johns can tell fucking Hamada what to do. That's why nothing changed.
Yep.
How did you got a yes man and you got a fall guy.
Yep.
Anything goes bad. And I didn't Hamada get removed from the website recently? Yep. Didn't they actually announce that they had a new head?
They are going to get rid of Hamada. It's going to happen. But you got to think about it like this. How did Hamada get hired, right? And then literally nothing changed.
Well, that's the thing. I think with Alan Horn coming in, I think they've already been firing a bunch of people, but heads are just about to start to roll.
Yeah, they're going to start rolling officially. Hamada's done. Yeah. Because Hamada was just there to be a placeholder so they can continue to do the same bullshit that they've been doing. If they really it's like a TV show. When there's a TV show going on, and there's a one showrunner, and let's say it gets to season 2, and they bring on a new showrunner. Even if this TV show continues to be good or goes to be bad, you can see the difference. When the new season comes out, even if it's slight, you can see the difference, a slight difference. I'm like, oh yeah, I can see this because it's a new showrunner. They brought on Hamada to be the head of DC Films, and nothing changed. Literally nothing. All the same type of films that they were making kept coming out. The same tone, the same direction that they were going kept going.
When Hamada came on, he actually greenlit as many things as he could so he could get his name on projects and get residuals. Yep.
There'd be more stuff if Zazzle didn't cancel it.
I mean, in the sense of what's going on screen, like the film.
Yeah, no, it's the same.
The DC film,
whoever's behind the scenes making these choices, it's the same dude.
Hamada lost out on that new jobs money.
It's Jeff Johns. That's why it's Jeff Johns telling Hamada what to do.
Dude, I love how this guy hasn't been on Twitter for so long.
They're close.
If you look at Jeff Johns' last tweet, it's like right when he tried to sabotage Zach. It was like in 2017, isn't it?
Is that the last tweet he had?
I don't know. I haven't looked at his stuff in a while, but he hasn't done anything in a long time.
Oh, because he's not going to hop on Twitter anymore because he knows everyone's going to stone him up. Not that whole Twitter, but the DC side of Twitter is going to stone him up. It's not going to benefit him.
Yeah, he promoted some doomsday clock stuff, but that's about it.
For him to just stay behind the scenes and rack in this production money. That's all he needs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's okay because Batgirl is part of the Snyderverse. Ben Affleck is in Batgirl. He's the Batman in Batgirl. So it's all
Batgirl ain't part of the Snyderverse, but at this point,
we're told
nothing is Snyderverse.
The way things are going, it's like we won't really know until like the next few months because the heads are rolling, shit is changing. The company's probably realizing that they probably shouldn't even have been following this dude or this path in general. They honestly just announced Ben Affleck coming back in Aquaman 2. Not that really means much, but a lot of this shit could really mean something in the sense that maybe they're realizing like, y'all did some dumb shit and we gotta try to take this together as best as possible. And to me, that's still unfortunate because even if they take the DCEU where it's going now and try to rework it back to the Snyderverse shit and try to fit everything in it, let's say have their cake and eat it too, it's still not going to be that great. You feel me? It still might be
I
better.
think they might even
but
try to reboot it, but it's hard to say because like
yeah,
a new
it's hard
studio
to
head
say
coming
right
in, I
now.
think they're not gonna want to look at all the
You're not gonna really know
baggage.
what's gonna
The fact
happen
that
until
they just announced bringing back Ben Affleck, so they're not about to reboot really anytime soon. Like the Flash, they might really try to reboot with the Flash, but it's like, yo, dude said he wasn't coming back. Like
well,
3
all
4
this stuff
times
is still
already.
Hamadaverse, right? Like all this whole slate, it still has to get pushed out. So
you have to wait
all
until
these
Blue
new
Beetle.
execs
Blue
coming
Beetle's
in,
the last one.
That's the whole thing.
What do we do? We have it on recording now. It's all evidence now.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to episode 2 of 44's podcast. Happy to be here. Thank you for
we're already
tuning in.
on episode 2.
44's podcast. This is Ben's podcast.
No, this is Parademon 44. Talk
Parademon
Shit
44.
Podcast.
Please follow, subscribe, like, and make sure you shout out 44 when you listen to this podcast. I think 44 is running a special prize thing. So if you subscribe, he'll send you guys a prize.
Yeah, he's doing giveaways.
Yeah, giveaway.
Every 500 subscribers.
Every 500, 44 is going to he's going to sign something for you and then send it to you guys.
He's gonna give away an exclusive piece of Nosco art signed
signed by 44.
Perfect. Well, we got this. I'm
gonna send you a picture of your girlfriend holding cock. That's what I'm gonna surprise.
44. That's not family friendly. What are you trying to do? Ruin your audience?
That's inappropriate. You're being mean to your followers.
We're gonna have to suspend you from your own podcast.
If the fans want a prize, then I gotta be honest about what the prize is.
Please disregard that statement.
All right, so we were talking about what were we talking about? The merger and
we're talking about how they're going to either continue or merge the current Hamadaverse into a Snyderverse, or they're going to reboot.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I look at it, I think they're gonna just reboot, because if I were an exec and I were coming in and I was like a big shot, I'd be like, man, fuck all your baggage. We're gonna start over real simple. I'm just gonna do like a quick kind of Superman intro to a Justice League movie and then start building from that. Like I wouldn't even bother with.
But you know what the
DCU.
problem is? The pesky Snyder fans are just gonna.
That is a big problem. That's a big pain in my ass.
Completely destroy your social media campaigns and your ad
They're
marketing.
pretty effective at that.
Them and that stupid billboard.
So maybe what I'll do is
the problem is the writing. They wrote themselves into such a fucking crazy corner. Can they actually pull it off and write themselves out of it?
Bro.
I doubt it.
No, because they already have so many like loopholes and plot holes in their shit. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like just between Aquaman and Justice League, there's a bunch of plot holes. Like that's just.
In my opinion, honestly, the thing that fucked it up the most is Black Adam, because if they didn't put the JSA in Black Adam, and they actually had not even said they had faith in the JL, because we know why they put the JSA in Black Adam, because of Jeff Johns. That was the only reason, because Jeff Johns loves the JSA and he wants to go based on his comics, and he didn't want to use anything established by Zack Snyder, even when Zack Snyder was already gone and he could have did whatever he wanted. It's like,
yeah, but see, Zack gets money off of Justice League sequels, so even if they brought in another director, Zack would get a lot of money from that shit.
He still get money off of it, but I mean, in the sense of the Hamadaverse.
I'm saying Jeff Johns doesn't want him to, so Jeff Johns has to make sure Zack gets no money, and Jeff Johns wants to make his own. Yeah.
They wrote themselves to the corner on purpose, because if they wanted to, they could have easily been like, oh yeah, just use the Snyderverse actors. Fuck it. You know, we're going to go in the Justice League timeline, but just use the same actors, throw them in Black Adam. And then when everything came to this point right now, where they're firing everybody and they're trying to change it up, it seems, then it would have been a way easier to go back into the proper direction. But now it's like they got so many plot holes, and the future films have plot holes. They got films with Michael Keaton in it.
They're plot holes. They got plot holes.
To reshoot.
The biggest plot hole is Mira's accent.
Dude, Michael Keaton is the biggest gimmick I've ever seen thrown into any universe ever. Like that is the most ridiculous thing to do. You have a universe that's struggling to survive at all, and you're just gonna throw some old Batman on it, like, and he's not even gonna be Batman. He's just gonna be Batman Beyond, and it's Batgirl Beyond. Oh,
Yeah, because
that's the craziest
that's the whole
shit.
thing. Jeff Johns just wanted his money. He sold himself as the comic book guy that can figure all this shit out and help the studio bring it into a place where it can make money, I guess. And they believed him. So at this point, it's like, yeah, they didn't give a fuck. They're just like, yeah, let's put it together so we can make some money real quick. Like that's why everybody harping the same people that harp all that Jeff Johns hype shit. We go, Jeff Johns it's a shit, or the same people that talk all that anti-woke shit. Like, oh yeah, they're making everything woke. But notice how all the Jeff Johns films have been getting more woker and more woker hella quick. Whatever woke means, but they've been having way more. They've been replacing the males with females. You feel what I mean? They've been doing a whole bunch of other stuff around that, but you don't see anybody saying anything about that.
Yeah, for a good month there, Grace Randolph was super hyping up the gender swapping of Superman and Batman to Supergirl and Batgirl. Like she was like, we're gonna have an all-female DC Trinity, and she was super excited about it. And that shit's not even gonna happen. Like they're gonna have a Batgirl movie straight to HBO Max.
Because I don't
think they're even gonna get to a Supergirl movie.
That shit was some Jeff Johns shit too. Because Jeff Johns and Hamada, they didn't want to bring back the OG actors, and they come in hella spiteful. Like that's what I was saying. They don't give a fuck about the quality. They just want the money. So they're like, all right, fuck it. All of Hollywood is pushing this girl power shit where, you know, they're making the girls the stars and the heroes and all that shit. And, you know, they're sidelining anybody else, and everything's based on, you know, the same racial hierarchy that we've been pushing shit over here in the US. So let's just do it like that. And that's what they did.
I don't even think Sasha Calle's role is actually going anywhere.
I don't think she's gonna get any spinoffs. I don't.
Because the thing about it is
that movie bombs.
It almost seems cruel to cast her right now.
How is it that Hamada was in control the whole time over Flashpoint? We all know that Jeff Johns was around. As much as they try to deny it or not, we know how Hollywood is. Like they'll hide people in the corner and be still over there working. Jeff Johns is still around. Even before all the shit started hitting the fan with the Snyder Cut, when it started coming out, they're already working on the Flash. So Jeff Johns with Hamada working on the Flash that was supposed to be Flashpoint, but then the Flashpoint we got looks like this. You saw the trailer, like it has Michael Keaton in it, and you know Sasha Cale Supergirl that's replacing the Superman role. Not that I even really care, because honestly, I don't really care about the race swap, gender swap shit like that. The way I look at it is like, man, if the actor or the character bodies the role, and it shows justice to the story, that's all that matters. But you can see with this whole Flash thing, the Flush thing, everybody was saying like, oh, this is gonna be Flashpoint. Jeff Johns is involved. This shit is nothing like Flashpoint. And Jeff Johns.
What are you talking about? You have 3 Ezra Millers. That's just screams Flashpoint. Like,
is it really 3? I only thought it was 2.
There's 3 Ezra Millers.
Oh, this is getting better and better.
It's just nothing like Flashpoint. But all these people were swearing like, oh yeah, now that Zack Snyder's gone, Jeff Johns gonna drop the real Flashpoint. And like, no, he didn't. Zack Snyder was actually gonna drop the real Flashpoint, and Jeff Johns didn't even want to do it. But now
he's gonna bring in Jeffrey D.
Morgan, and he's making this bullshit now. Like so, and he wrote Flashpoint. And for people that don't know, he wrote Flashpoint. So it's like
even Cyborg is a big part of his Flashpoint in the comic book. I love how they had so many characters lined up from the Snyderverse that would have been amazing in an actual Flashpoint movie, and instead you get 3 Ezra Millers, some random Supergirl that's not even from the comics, and then Michael Keaton, and you're just like, why would you put the title Flash on this at all? This is just crazy bullshit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, regardless of how anybody wants to paint it about, oh yeah, they was beefing and they was diff, and Jeff Johns didn't want to use the Snyder stuff. Like, man, Zack Snyder was already gone at that point. He was already gone. Even when we was fighting for the Snyder Cut, pushing for however you want to call it, already gone at that point. Jeff Johns could have did whatever he wanted. Zack Snyder already lined it up for him. He already had the Thomas Wayne there, he had the Martha Wayne that were both comic accurate. Everybody wants to cry about comic accuracy. They were both comic accurate. He had Flash there. He had the older Batman there. He had Cyborg there. What was the problem? Why didn't Jeff Johns just make Flashpoint? And Jeff Johns had the backing of Hamada and Toby Emmerich. Why didn't he just make a comic accurate Flashpoint?
Ego.
He just hates Snyder that much. And that's some crazy shit, honestly.
Yeah,
to have that much hate for like the nicest director in Hollywood. I don't know, man.
It's that simple to break down. Ego, spitefulness, because it's like, bro, dude was already wrong. If you was really a smart dude, you could have took his shit and ran with it and did your own shit on some really smart Hollywood shit, and nobody would have questioned it. Well, he would have questioned it with everybody else around that he was doing business with, and all the other consumers, they wouldn't even have questioned it. They would have just been like, oh, they're making a Flashpoint movie, and it's just like Flashpoint. And the dude who wrote Flashpoint is working on it. Oh, this all lines up and makes sense. I'm about to go watch it.
So let me ask,
sense, right? Like,
where does Hamada go from here? Like, is he done? Because he's got movies in the pipeline, but I don't think he's going to be around to see any of them. So you think he's going to try and greenlight anything?
No, he's done.
He's just done.
They're not greenlighting anything anytime soon. Like, what I think is happening now is, I think they're either going to replace him real soon, or they're just waiting for all these films to drop before they get rid of him, because they probably don't want to replace him and put somebody else in new while these new films are coming out, and then they got to take the brunt of all these because they fast tracked hella films. Like they fast tracked a whole slate within like a year and a half. Like, so maybe like it might not matter, but you know how business is. If they put somebody else in and all these movies drop and they're whack, it may seem like right now, like why would it be on the new guy? Because they're new. It'll be on them because once they take that position, they have to handle the marketing. They got to handle all the business aspect. They got to handle the producing and all that shit. And they got to they really have to make sure, even though these movies are already made, they have to make sure that these movies come out and are as successful as they can be. And if they're not, the new head of DC Film is going to take an L on that. So either they're going to replace them immediately if they don't give a fuck about that shit at all, they're going to replace them immediately. If they do, they might just wait until Hamada's contract is up or until all these films come out before they replace Hamada.
I think his contract's up in 2023.
Exactly.
That means that some of this stuff is you're gonna see the financial ramifications in later quarters. So the new guy's gonna have to be the face of some bad quarters.
Yeah. Hamada inherited a little bit of that, but he didn't help himself.
No, he was lucky. He got Joker. He got that Joker money making him look good.
Well, that was WB
too.
shooting themselves in the foot because they sold off 2/3 of the profits for that.
Yeah, but that's not many people know that. All this says is like Joker $1 billion, Aquaman $1 billion. Hamada's raking in the.
Hamada didn't inherit anything bad because you know why?
He's lucky.
Hamada was just a puppet for Emmerich. And just like even Jeff Johns, Hamada is really just a puppet for Jeff Johns too. And Jeff Johns was just a puppet for Emmerich. Let's just be G about it. Like they all kept the same. That's why I was even saying before, like the whole New Line thing, that's why I'm not even really off the Luca, because the Luca is also a part of New Line. And the only thing I'm like, all right, it might be all right, is because Toby Emmerich stepped down. But this whole thing where when they got rid of Alan Horn and they didn't give what's his name, not Greenblatt, the dude that greenlit Man of Steel and all that shit. You know what I mean? He made a new production company and all that. The bald guy with
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, his name is slipping my mind right now, and I always remember his name. But you guys know him. He's the Jewish guy. When they didn't give him the job, and then they gave Toby the job, they just came on this whole like New Line mafia shit, where it was like Toby just started bringing in all these like New Line guys and New Line guys and New Line guys. And every guy that he brought in was just another one of his fucking cronies. And Hamada was one of those dudes. Like when Toby took over WB became New Line. The only thing that Toby Emmerich did was make fucking WB into a bigger fucking New Line. And New Line, in my opinion, sucked. I never really liked New Line films like that. I just, you know, they weren't my fucking thing. They made a lot of thrillers and all that shit, but it's like, yeah, like, but Toby Emmerich brought that same energy, like, all right, we're gonna make these cheap ass, you feel what I mean? Like shock value films.
Do you think this Alan Horn guy is gonna be able to bring WB back, or is there too many New Line minions in WB now?
Well, they're firing him right now. Like all the people that Toby Emmerich has brought in, they're firing him. So you never really know. We gotta wait till the dust settles, really. But DeLuca is also a New Line guy too, and I'm not really trying to shit on that to say in the sense that just working for New Line in the past is like an L on your resume. I'm really saying that for Toby Emmerich as far as how he came into the game, like how he came into WB as the head, and the people that he brought in from New Line and how he ran it was complete bullshit. There might be some other people that come from New Line that, you know, might not move the same way, that actually might know what they're doing.
1 minute countdown.
We're gonna run out of time again, unfortunately.
Move on to episode 3 later.
Yeah, I'll look up some other alternatives. All right, go to sleep, 44. Good luck at work tomorrow, buddy. See you guys.
Thank you.